to them, they're not necessarily going to understand you, but if you think in pictures, and I said, just imagine, think to them that you would like them, imagine them walking up and you actually talking to one another, honoring one another, and so forth. Now, several people have also reported healings by them. He now, of course, the mantises come. In fact, this is a good story. He was watching a cartoon on TV called The Family Man, real late one night. And I guess is there an alien on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's watching this, and all of a sudden, and he's eating popcorn. His wife was sound asleep. He got up in the middle of the night, couldn't do anything, so he's watching this. And he's sitting there eating some popcorn, and all of a sudden, here's this huge mantis who's just watching the program with him. And he enjoyed the cartoon. Anyway, so let's see, what else has happened? He now has found out that he was of the hierarchy with the mantis beings. I have another woman in which the mantis beings have been not only healing her body, but changing her body, because they told her, you were our queen before you left and volunteered to come here to Earth to help humanity. But when you leave here, you must return as our queen because you promised you'd come back. So they're literally changing her body. Literally changing her body back. They can't wait for their queen to return. So, and they come in different colors because in reality, they are different colors. I mean, there's some that are the white, which is the highest of the hierarchy, and then there's the gold, which is the next to the highest, and then you've got the purple ones, purpley blue ones, have been like the guards and the assistants for the mantises. And then you've got the green, and you've got some brown ones. You've got all different colors of them. And the green ones seem to have worked a lot with healing. So in this one, I did put a lot of healing energy in it. The blue Arcturian, I have a woman in England. This one is the plaque. I also sell the sculpture, but the plaque is easy to travel with. And I have people, even psychologists, if you can believe this, who have bought these and who buy them so that they're easy to take with them, and they travel with them. They never go anywhere without them. But anyway, let me tell you about the blue Arcturian. What's really neat about the blue Arcturian is this woman in England who works for the UN, by the way. She calls me up and she said she just recently got one of these, and she's got two of the other sculptures. And she said, Cynthia, I must tell you, I get to have a lot of interesting things happen. You know, it can be sitting across the room, and when it tells me to pick it up and meditate, I do. And she does, and what happens is she will, this is the first time in her life this has happened when she's meditating with it, she actually goes totally black in her head, and then the next thing she knows, a half hour's gone by, and she knows she's been on a ship, but she doesn't know what happened. And her guides say, we cannot tell you because this is important things that you are not allowed to remember, that it could compromise your safety. But the last two times, she came back remembering a poem. And she didn't know who the author was. In the early 1890s and died in 1955. And so she says, now why am I speaking this poem? And the next night, or next day, she's meditating with it again, and she comes back with a totally different poem, and she writes it down, and she Googles it, and it's the same author. And she says, now why do you think that is? And I said, well, it's because those who have crossed over, we think that they're on the other side, and the truth is they go back to their ship. He's back on his ship, and he gave her his poem so that she could be a witness that when we leave here, we go back to doing what we did before we came. And that was, she is the witness of that. Isn't that exciting? I just love it. So anyway, and then this one here is, she's a space traveler. I remember one time I was having an experience, I'm not sure if it was another dimension or if it was just the etheric realm, and there were 6 tornadoes coming at the building I'm in, and I'm on the second floor, and I'm going, oh, this is going to be fun. And I'm thinking, okay, I may not survive this, so what am I going to do? And this is what happens. Suddenly, all the sound of the tornado stops dead, and I think, okay, we're in the center of the tornado. No, there's a big ship that just landed out there, and this was one of the women on the ship, and they walked through the wall, and I said, hi, I know you. Why are you here? Well, because we told you that if you ever needed us, we'd be there. We want to make sure you're okay. So all of us, we have our guides. They're watching out for us. They're with us. They're here to make sure we complete our missions. And all we have to do is find out what they are. Then we have the Nephilim. The Nephilim are, many people have had some negative things to say about the Nephilim and the Anunnaki. The Nephilim were the children of the Anunnaki and the humans, and that's one of the things I heard. Is that?
That's from Sitchin.
Okay, from Sitchin. And they had, actually, Nefertiti's is a Nephilim. And they were quite tall. She was short, however. She was only 10.5 feet tall, and her husband, Akhenaten, was 14.5 feet tall. So they have elongated heads, and one of the women that has that got a Syrian warrior of light had started having experiencing ships coming to her after she got the Syrian, and she complained to me that nothing other than the ships coming. She didn't have any face-to-face encounters, and she wanted more than that. And wouldn't you know it, last weekend she calls me up, and she was taken not only on the ship, but taken to the underwater, in the bottom of the ocean, where there were 6 domes. The one in the center, the main dome, which was the main center, all of the people on that were Anunnaki that were in the domes. And they were saying, please tell humanity we've gotten a bad rap. And yes, we did manipulate your DNA. But as you are ascending, so are we. We are ascending as well. We are here now to assist you. She also, the very next night, went to a huge, huge mothership. And to my surprise, one of the young men, I do a lot of counseling with people that want to remember who they are and what their mission is and so forth. And a young man contacted me. And he we Skyped each other. I really need to think into myself. He had a very unusual look. And I said, I don't know. All I can say is I know you're a warrior of light, but you're not Syrian. I'm not sure what you are. And Cassandra, I know that you did a reading for him. And he happens to be Draco, right? And he's of the light, though. He's a light worker for Draco. And Annette, the woman that lives in North Carolina, when she was on that mothership, saw this 23-year-old guy that I was Skyping that has those nodules, and he was in his full uniform, and he was addressing all the people that were gathering, talking about what we're going to do for planet Earth. What is happening to planet Earth right now? We're talking about CMEs, coronal mass ejections, that are told to that they will be coming here, and we need to be prepared. Over in Europe, they've already gotten the warning and said, make sure you have extra water, food, and so forth. Do not, under any circumstance, ever feed into fear for water. When we learn to use our light and unconditional love, we manifest that we need. Now, I know I don't have enough time to go through some of these things that I printed out, but if anyone wants to read through them, I've got something from a gentleman here as well that's from the UK, and Ben is his name, and he's an awesome man. He woke up one morning having memory recall, and everything he reads he remembers, and he can tell you almost what page and where it is. And when I ask him a question, he goes, let me look it up in my book. And this guy is always helping me. So he was wonderful and put together all this information on crop circles and deciphering what they mean, the ones from this year that have been out. What is the message we're getting? So if anyone wants to look at this, you can look at that. I've also got a bunch of people who've told about all the healings and experiences with sculptures. If anyone wants to look at that, there's dozens and dozens of people's experiences that they've had. And let's see, what else? One last thing. Another gentleman who does unbelievable healing wrote to me. Do I have a couple minutes? Yes. Okay. Wrote to me, and he was doing a reading. He does incredible healing and writes and makes music in which he goes into a trance, and what happens is his music has the vibrations, the tones in it to help us awaken and empower us. So I have a bunch of those at home. If anyone's interested, you can contact me. I just didn't have time to bring them with me. And he also recently was on the ship for a healing. He had his lungs, he had fluid around his heart, and he also had one lung collapsing and was very ill, and his wife kept saying, sometimes I'm afraid to wake up in the morning for fear I'll look over and he'll be gone. He'll have passed away. And she says it's very difficult, and I got on the phone with him and said, what is wrong with you, David? Don't you know who you are? You, my God, you do healings on other people. Demand that they heal you. Oh my God, did they heal him? This guy, he thinks he's 20 again. You know? I mean, they did a good job on him. The next morning, after they did a healing, he was feeling awesome. So remember, we have the right to demand that they heal us. He wrote to me, this is something that his beings told him yesterday while I was talking to him, and I'm just going to read this really quick. He says, you need to stand courageous in the resolution of the danger that exists upon your planet. Be bold and defiant, but do not thrust yourself into the dangerous situations. Be straightforward in your dealing in interpersonal relationships. The sorrow that breeds caution demonstrates that love can be both bitter and sweet. The love that you have, oops, that one's personal, never mind. I won't say that one. Okay. I gotta read. Oh.